1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. We have a little technical difficulties. I'll show you. I set an alarm to go off, and you could show it on screen, as obviously, because I just did, to count down and to be really professional. But I forgot I'd done it, and I didn't know what was ringing. So I'll chop this all off. That's what I do. I come on early, say hello to people, and then I chop it off, which works good. Okay, so we got some people here. Heaven help us. Okay, the CMO survey came out, and I've been watching this for the last few years. It's got some really interesting stuff. And what it pretty much basically says is that, I love this one, but marketing budgets remain steady despite uncertain times ahead. I didn't write this, of course. When are there not uncertain times ahead? It's not like we have a GPS for the future, that's going to tell us where to turn and where to go next. It doesn't work like that. The future is uncertain. And if you decide that you're not going to have any marketing because the future is uncertain, then it will be certain. You'll be out of business and you'll be in the job market. So if you rely on certainty to plan your marketing budget, you're out of business. That's just kind of what I do. That's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, marketing budgets are down a smidgen, but not much. Not much change. And this is over, all these different companies. Oops. Oh, I'm making lines on my. Stop it. How do I get rid of that thing? This tool does things to me that I don't understand. And I wrote to the authors. I said, can I get an old one that was simple? And I knew how to run it. They said, no, it's even worse. That was kind of a nice admission. Okay, 1/3 of marketing budgets are going to technology. And that's a kind of a vague thing. They do break it out a little bit. Agencies, paid media, labor, and MarTech. I think I'm MarTech. I'm not 100% sure, because most of what I do, we figured out in the 90s. It's just that no one's doing it. And the longer I go, the more I know for sure that no one's doing it. And it scares me. Because I have to look at models that were built either primarily with RFM, and you can see I have on the YouTube channel, which you just search Miglosh, and you'll find either my Scoot Through Roma, which is my personal channel, and how to make no-knead bread, or you'll find 120 videos, which is my business channel. And on there's a playlist. And the playlist actually, I have two now, and one of them is about recency, frequency, monetary. And I think it's pretty good. It's about 5 video sessions of these 10-minute things, so it's not even an hour. And you can take it at your own pace, and it's free. And I would recommend it, and, share it. But RFM has some huge problems in it. And then the alternative is like regression, which is easy to understand, but doesn't find the needles in the haystack. It doesn't find the good and the bad, and it doesn't get rid of the bad and the good very well. It just is a big overall glop. And so is RFM. And so then they go to neural net or artificial intelligence, and then they don't know what's going on, which defeats your learn process. And the methodology actually is that we do the modeling to improve our customer contact. And then in the process, we learn things. And we learn about little things that are working that we didn't notice. And we find a new idea. And we create a new business. So in Baseball Express, for example, it sold baseball gear to players, mostly. I called them up one day and I said, hey, do you ever consider business-to-business marketing? And they said, no, we're strictly consumer. I said, well, who buys this $4,500 pitching machine? Richie Rich. Anyway, so they said, oh, leagues and colleges and even major league teams. And I said, did you ever consider business-to-business? And they said, no, we're strictly consumer. And so I could show them that they were selling. There were some people buying. Same thing in Cabela's. We had segments of Cabela's models that were doing over 100% response. How's that possible? Somebody's really into a hobby. No, it was the professionals. It was the guys who ran a hunting lodge, the outfitters. It's funny because their byline was world's most famous outfitter or something like that. But they didn't realize that outfitters were using them. And of course, it made tons of sense. And so then they created a business-to-business whole division. And I helped Land's End, too, create their business-to-business division. So those things were all started with a little idea of, gee, somebody wants, their logo embroidered on this nice Land's End turtleneck. Could we do more of that? And in 10 years, it grew to 180 million because I was helping them again then after it was bigger. So a little idea that can grow is usually more powerful than trying to best case your way to greatness. It doesn't work. Best casing, getting your consultant in to tweak your accounting system, that's not going to grow your company. Okay? So anyway, back to the CMO budget. So when they talk about this MarTech, it's still a little vague what they mean. They said marketing investments, a quarter of their budget goes to paid search, organic search, websites, and email. Again, probably not going to grow your company like it did in the early days of internet marketing. Okay, down here, CMOs prioritize customer experience and analytics, but risk overlooking acquisition and retention. There's a lot of stuff on this. I'll go farther down. And the CMO value awareness. And I probably shared that Lovesac story where the new VP of marketing came in to me and said, "Hey, why are we mailing to existing customers? Wouldn't it be better to go get new customers? Because the existing customers already know us. They know our product. And what we find is that once people know about us, we do as well as Williams-Sonoma or Kia or I'm making these up, but it was other competitors that were much better known." And I said, well, let's see. And what we did was we took their catalog and we looked at how customers who got a catalog and we held some out and didn't get them and see how they did. And it was a 300% ROI. And then we noticed that there were a lot of neighbors buying. And so we included the neighbors, loosened up the match a little bit. And these are kind of technical, techniques that I'm not going to get into, but we had a 900% ROI. And so it turned out that what that did was validate mail, among other things, over the digital space. But what it also shows is that CMOs like awareness. Now, CEOs like ROI. They like measurable response. They like cause and effect. And that's what direct marketing is about, is that we can isolate the causal variable. So we isolated mail. We said, let's mail some and let's not mail others, and we'll keep track of what goes on. That's an isolation experiment, just like you learn in sophomore biology. We can do that with mail, and because the impact is so much higher than any given banner ad or any given billboard, you can actually see what's going on. So that went by fast, and we started a little late. But check out the playlist on RFM. It's one of my hot topics. I also got control of migmar.com again, so there'll be some new material posted there. And if you're interested in this article, it appears on issm.org or wdma.org. Have a great week.